Hello and welcome to the another episode of Let's Grow channel series. I'm your host Miraz Hussain, and today I have a very special guest. He is a sophomore at Springfield College majoring in communication and finance. Not only is he a student athlete playing football here, but he is also a family man with six siblings just like me. He is the author of Myles and the World, and he is doing incredible work in storytelling and literature. Please welcome the one and only Cayden James Perry. Welcome, Cayden.
Thank you. I'll take that intro.
Thank you. Actually, this is a book. This is his book, and we are going to talk more about this book. Cayden, how are you today?
I'm doing alright. How are you doing?
I am great. How did you start your day today?
I started my day. We had practice this morning for football, and it was at 5 a.m. I had to be up. So
Are you serious? 5
yeah,
a.m.?
5 a.m. So 5 a.m. wake up, got to the got to the athletic facility at like 5:30, and then after that practice till about 7:30, 7:45. We did some Easter games, headed back, showered, and now I'm here having a conversation with you.
Wow, thank you very much for coming. Karen, so what time did you go to bed last night?
Last night, I tried to go to bed at 10 o'clock because we had to wake up at 5. Unfortunately, I probably didn't fall asleep till around 11, 12, and only slept about 2, 3 hours. But I'm feeling good. It just happens sometimes. So
Oh, okay. Perfect. So now I just want to jump directly to your book because I'm very excited. This is the book that I also read this book and I will recommend everyone to read this. But before that, I want to say, Karen, first of all, congratulations for your
thank you.
The mileage in the world. This is a
Mhm.
really great book. Uh, Honestly, this book blew me away, and I love how simple yet powerful your writing is. Actually, I am also the English is my sixth language, so I'm not very good in English. And whenever I read like a little the book which is like very a kind of hard vocabulary, I do not understand. But this is the book where I was understanding everything. So this is like really great, and I will recommend anyone who is just starting reading the book. I think this is the first. This will be one of the first book that you can read because in this book you have explained the scenario in very detail,
Mhm.
very clear way, and I like the way you are describing anything in. It feel like you are describing everything in very pictorial way. So this is one of the best book that I will recommend anyone who is just starting the journey of reading the book. Tell us in a brief what is the book about.
Yeah. So Miles in the World is about when 13-year-old Miles' dog Bailey goes missing over summer vacation. Miles gets together with some of his friends to go across the city to go search for their dog. And then, of course, along the way, right, there's challenges, there's obstacles that kind of resemble like society and stuff like that. Each kid in part of the group, I wanted to kind of resemble um, a part of society and kind of like these morals that they kind of have to face and these challenges. So
Oh,
yeah.
that's great. Thank you. Thank you for summarizing that. When I was reading the book, I think the main hooks was for me. Oh, there is one more thing I will say. I think this you have done the one of the great job in that book that at the end of every chapter like there was a great hooks that what will happen next, what will happen next, and I was able to feel that. So when I started reading, I thought that no bro, I need to complete it, I need to go. It feel like more
Mhm.
addiction type. So it feel like a series, like whenever we watch the movie or series, it feel like if you complete this, what will happen next. Your book, you have done the incredible job doing that thing in the book. So if you are looking for something that can blow up your mind, that can make you like what next, please read the book Miles and the World. um, that's interesting. So I want to ask one of the question from that book. In the book, you say that there was a crush of a girl. You have a crush. Okay, let me ask the question in this way. There is a girl, and on that girl there is a crush of two boys. You and
Mhm.
your friend,
Well, not necessarily me. This is not a. It's not a true
like
story,
the
but yeah,
character.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean the
The character,
character.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The
So
character.
how does it feel? Because even though whenever you are writing the book, you
Mhm.
feel the character.
Yep.
How does it feel when you have a crush on same girl when you and your friend have a crush on the same girl.
Yeah, no, no, it's definitely like an interesting feeling. I mean, uh, I think especially like when you're like in middle school and stuff like that, like maybe not necessarily really now, right? As we get older, we get a little bit more mature about different emotions in different situations. But I think it goes down to really jealousy just in general, right? It might not just be like a girl, it could be maybe like a job that your friend has that uh, you want, or a lifestyle, a car, an object, whatever it is. I think just jealousy in general can be hard to deal with as an emotion, especially with people that we care about and we love. So I think that was interesting to put in there, just because when you have someone that you care about and you love, but then you're also kind of jealous and you have this like territorial um, emotion towards them, it can definitely be difficult. And I wanted to put that in the book just as something that a common thing I think men and women, but especially young men, I think go through, especially like in their middle school years, in their early years, and, and of course, in the future. But as you get more mature, you understand like the situations a little bit better. But
Yeah,
uh,
thank you for saying. Actually, I asked this question because almost more than 90% boy have same problem. They have a
hmm
crush on same
yep,
girl. Uh, but there's one thing I also noticed in the book. Like you are very honest to the things. Because if I am writing, I think I will not go that much detail about the girlfriend boyfriend
hmm
emotions or detail to. There are a lot of details and very honesty in your writing. So I can see the honesty in your writing. I think that is one of the things that separate you from the other writer. Otherwise, for example, if I'm writing, I think I will not be writing this.
hmm
So this is, I like, I think one of your upper level of the skill, that you are very detailed and very honest in your writing.
yeah,
uh,
yeah. I would say I think especially with the honesty in this, I think it comes from again like experience, with not necessarily obviously like this isn't a true story, but it's derived from different experiences that I've had with friends and family and of course different relationships that I've had. I think that this book kind of encompasses all of that, and that's where you kind of get this truth to what I'm writing, and honesty, which I think obviously every writer who needs to write a story and needs it to be compelling, it has to be derived from the stories that you live yourself. So I think that's where that feeling's coming from.
Yeah, I totally agree. And this is one of the great part where in almost more than 80-90% time I was able to relate myself, because I think we all human are more than 90% same. Only 10% is the different, the
hmm
feelings, the emotion we go through. So whenever you were like very true about that girlfriend boyfriend feelings, the feelings of parenting, there are a lot of things. So
hmm
I think I was able to put myself in that shoes. I think that was one of the great part that really attached me with that
hmm
book. Thank you for that. Is the Miles and the World is your first book?
This is my first book, yeah. So I've always tried to write when I was younger. I've always been actively trying to publish a book since I was like 9 years old. I wanted to be the youngest author, but here we are with my first book, and hopefully first of many.
Wow, that's great. So how does it feel when you publish your book?
Mhm. It felt so, you know, I think it felt really good when the book came in and I was holding it, and I think to see people's reactions were really cool because I published it, um, not thinking much of it. I just was like, hey, this is really cool. I wanted to do this for a long time, but this was first of many, right? My aspirations for like just writing, and and I'd say this humbly, is I would love to be a New York Times bestseller. I would love to be, like the number one selling book on Amazon, etc., right? Like I want to win awards for my books and stuff like that. So publishing the book wasn't necessarily like on like the bucket list. Of course it is, like that's the step to get there, but it's just not something I looked at specifically. But I felt good. Of course, you're going to feel good when family members, friends, and people who you don't even know support it, support you and everything that's going on. And I think that support and the people who have shown that was really eye opening. Was like, okay, wow, this is really cool experience.
Wow, you say that you start writing since when you were like 9 year old. What does writing mean to you? Because you are deeply rooted in these things.
It means so much. I think we're all born with, we all have a gift, right, of some sorts. And I really think writing was mine, right? I think I've worked hard in a lot of things in my life to be good at certain things, I hope, and I say that humbly. Um, but writing was one that again I think I was good pretty early. Me and my older sister, we would spend countless hours. I'd be in her room and we would just be writing, and she'd be helping me, and she'd be helping develop these stories. And I think that I've had a really good relationship with, I guess, the process of writing because it allows my brain to kind of flow. But yeah, no, I think it's something that I want to focus on even more because I know naturally I'm at least pretty good at it, pretty decent. I would hope. I would hope some people think that, but it's something I want to get better at because I know that there's levels that I dream of.
Sounds great. So how many book do you write, or are you planning to write in a year?
Hmm.
Anything like that?
Yeah, so this year, Miles in the World, and then I'm hoping to get two more novel style books, maybe more pages in this, possibly the sequel to this one, right? So I'm planning out maybe a possible sequel trilogy or something like that with this series, and then so I plan in the future at least one book a year. I would love to be able to sit down and write a book every single year. Uh, One or two, honestly, depending on like schedule with like school and sports, of course. But now that I kind of got over that hurdle, everyone kind of feel like has a writing, but everyone's experienced a writing block, right? So that's not exclusive to just authors or anything. People experience it with essays or in classes or even with their own writing. So I think once you pass that blockage, once you pass that wall, I can see this being a little bit more easier because you have more confidence in people who read it. Like I had friends and family members who love reading, and friends that I trust, and they read it and they were like, I really enjoyed the story and the way it was, it came across. And so I think my objective as a writer, what I kind of succeeded in that, and that feels good, and that
Mm.
kind of gives me the confidence to kind of break through those walls in the future. So I have so many ideas in my head of what to write. I think that's going to be the issue on what to write and where to flow. But I hope, uh, I hope at least one book a year.
Yeah, that's great. So when you were saying you have a lot of ideas and you want to write one book, I want to know like what is the how long it take to write a book, and what is the behind scene, like how do you come up with the
Hmm.
idea?
So my ideas always kind of stem from having like a really good lesson or something that has meaning, right? Something that's going to be a little bit deeper than what meets the eye. And I think that that's very important because that's how you can again relate to people, and you can kind of have that honesty in your writing. So it comes from, personal experience, it comes from stories that just kind of pop in my brain. I watch a ton of movies. I love movies. Um, Very, very big interest of mine. And through watching movies, through even trying to read more, believe it or not, I wrote a book, but I don't read too much. So I've been trying to read more because the more I read, the better writing I get. But those kind of stories come from other stories and other ideas, just how everything kind of stems from. And then once you get that idea, it's how much or how much do you believe in that idea? How much do I believe that that idea can go forward? Because there's some stories that I have written down in my notes on my phone that I'm like, I don't know if this will ever become a story. It's just there. Maybe I can expand on it. So you have the initial idea, you relate it to yourself, personal reasons, you have a lesson, and then you expand and you write, and it just kind of speaks to you. This one in particular kind of spoke to me. That book took me 4 months to write, 4 months, and then the editing process, and then everything else was pretty hefty. I think the formatting and the editing was actually longer than the actual writing of the book, because that story spoke to me. For some reason, I was able to go back to
Mm.
my middle school years. I was able to bring back friends that I've had in the past, and just kind of create like a friend group going on this mission to go find this dog. And so it was surprisingly, this one was quicker. I think in the future it's going to be a little longer, but yeah, no, that's kind of like
Wow.
my writing
Wow,
process.
I love this. I can see writing is a way of life.
Hmm.
See, this is different, and I like the way you say that. I figure out like what you want to do, what is your gift is from the God, and you
Hmm.
figure out. And I can see the way you are explaining writing is feel like the way of life. Like you can see writing in everything, but I'm not on that type, so it doesn't seem to me. So I love the way you are explaining and relating everything. Life is like writing.
Hmm.
Wow, that's interesting. You say that I watch number of
Hmm.
movies, and I think I was also thinking like that because in order to get the story, you need to see watch other story. So what is the movie? What is the book do you like reading, watching?
A movie, so I love Spider-Man. So we could go Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. We could go Spider-Man 1, 2, right? The Tobey Maguire one's The Amazing Spider-Man. Um, I recently watched a movie not too long ago. It's called Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. It's with Jim Carrey. It's like a romance movie. I'm gonna go basic here too. Let's go SpongeBob movie, the original SpongeBob movie. That's pretty good. And as for books, I'm starting to read more, um, and maybe a little bit of Stephen King. I try to look into.
Oh, perfect. So this is how you relate your story. Otherwise, how you get the idea of the story. But now I wanted to know that. um you are writing the book. What is your motive? Like, where do you see yourself in coming years, or what is your motive of writing the
Hmm.
books?
So I've spoke with you about this, and I would love to turn these books
Mm-mm.
into movies, right? I would love to be able to take. I would love to be successful in my writing, right? I think as we all like when we do something, we want to be successful. So I think what success means to me is to be able to tell my stories and to have those stories be told the way that I want them to be perceived, right?
Perfect.
So I would love people to read them. I would love them to be turned into movies. I would love to direct them. I want to get into script writing as well, script writing, directing, producing, and I would love to be in kind of like those conversations, right? I try to be as humble as I can, but when it comes to honesty, I got to be honest, and the honesty of it is, I would love to be kind of like in that shelf of, you think of Stephen King, George R. R. Martin, um, you know, there's so many authors out there that people think of, when you think of authors, but I would love to be in kind of that category of authors that people gravitate towards and want to read, and that would be really cool, really special to kind of have like a fan base kind of around it where I can communicate my stories to people that gravitate towards the stories.
Wow, that's interesting. And while saying this, one thing pops up to my mind. You said that you want to turn your book into movie.
Hmm.
So there is a movie named Three Idiot. Like, all the people who know the Hindi language, who understand the Hindi language, like all people from India, more than 80% people from the Nepal, Bangladesh, Pakistan, everyone has watched this movie Three Idiot, and not one time. If I will say people has watched more than 5 times, I will not be wrong. Even though I have watched more than 10 times, and that movie was based on the novel called Five Point Someone by Chetan Bhagat. Chetan
Hmm.
Bhagat, he's one of the writer, and that movie was based on the novel, and it is one of the best movie that Indian cinema has ever produced. That movie was released in 2009 and made a worldwide collection of 19 million at that time, and was the highest gross Indian film ever at that time until 2013. So you can see that they convert that book in the movie, and it break the record of every since like 100, or I don't know how long is the journey of Indian cinema. So if you say you are going to turn your book into the movie, I think you will be the millionaire billionaire very soon.
Yeah, I think that would be the plan. This book, in particular, is based off of not a movie, but it's influenced, like it's not based off a movie, but it's influenced by some some movies, kind of like The Goonies, Stand by Me, right? So I can kind of envisioned it as a movie, and I think that's why when we were talking earlier about like the way like the book flows, um, when it's just kind of straightforward and we're kind of moving along this story rather than it being like a kind of like a traditional book where the story's kind of moving along in you're kind of describing the story, you're kind of like within the story here, it's almost like you're witnessing or watching it, and that's probably been my number one thing that people have told me about it that have read it. They're just like, this feels like you're in a movie, it feels like you're following it along.
Yeah, and this is also one of the great part. I will explain about these things while I was reading. I think I totally agree with you because, like, when we think about the book, it's like one thing is just going all the way, but in your movie, you are going with one thing, like you started the book that you went to search the dog, but at the same time you bring your friend, you bring the incident. And again, I was not losing that. Still we are looking for the mileage, still we are looking for the dog, because you were connecting that, hey, we need to look for the
Hmm.
dog. That, I think you did the great job in that thing. I will not be surprised if your book will be a movie one day and we will be watching that. No, bro,
I
you,
appreciate that.
I think
Yeah.
you have that potential,
Thank you. Thank you.
and
I
you
appreciate
have done in that book. That was so
it.
great. No, I like that. uh okay, so now I wanted to know, because you are very passionate about the writing, you are talking about everything, what inspired you to be writing? And like, if I need to narrow down the question, like, is there any influence from your family, friends? Like, how do you get into the writing world? Because you said I was passionate about writing since 9 years. At that time I didn't know what to eat.
Yeah, no, I think it's hard because I want to have an answer for the question specifically, but I don't know if I kind of have it. I think it goes back to the thing of we all kind of have a gift, I think we all somehow have an influence that we can make, right? And I think writing was one. I think it goes back. I used to watch the Maze Runner films, were a big influence for myself, I think. And I would watch these movies and I would like, I want to tell my own story. I think that's just kind of been the entire point of my writing is I love stories that I watch. I love stories that I read, but I wanted to tell my own. Like I have so many ideas and I'm like, that's cool. Now, what if I can do my own? I was always critical of movies too. Like I was, oh, I think I could have done this scene. Oh, what if they did it
Mm,
this way? And I think it was like the questioning and the want. I just really wanted to tell my own stories, right? And that was just what spoke to me. And at this point, I've gotten to a point now, I guess, where I am telling my own stories, and it's really
that's,
cool.
yeah, that's great. And there is a narrow concept, or whatever you say, that people think that the people whose parents are writer, their kid will be the writing. Is
Hmm.
there anyone in your family writer, or are you the first one? Like, what is your family background in literature and writing world?
Yeah, from what I know is I'm the first one who's ever published a book.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, from what I know, yeah, it feels pretty cool. I mean, now my family is similar in the sense of when I was talking about stories and stuff like that. Like, I would stay up late with my dad and my older brother, and we talk about just go into like deep stories and different ideas and theories of things and me and my older brother and my little brother, we would stay up watching movies together. Me and my older sister would write together, and we would think of story ideas together. So I think it's just a combination of no one's ever taken the leap. I think even my uncle, he reads a ton. I think they're all invested in stories, but I also think they're all invested in their life so much where they don't really have that time. And I was like, hey, I really take this for a passion. So I think I took like that leap there, but I do, there is credit to them to an extent of like, hours, countless hours of having conversations and countless nights together, just chit chatting and doing our thing, just
Bro, this
discussing
is
it.
interesting. One thing just came to my mind, because even in my home, the kid, I don't know, I don't want them to watch the movie a lot, because. But you say that your journey start when you watch the movie. You thought that I can write the movie. So means when the kid are watching the movie, it is good for them. What you are promoting here?
I think it's good. I love movies. Look, I think no, I do love movies. I know I have to get behind it. I don't see. I think you learn so much stories and you're exposed to so much that it gives you so much idea. It also, I think, watching movies and I think reading stories and getting involved, I think it also offers a sense of exposure,
Mm,
right? Like it gives you like this exposure to the world of, and not just this, but I mean specifically this book. That was the goal of this book, was to expose, like this is Miles in the world. This is his friend group being exposed to the world for the first time in a way, like the first time, like as a group of friends through this trip. And I think that's what stories do. I think stories expose you to comedy. I think stories expose you to love. I think stories expose you to loss. And so I think that's really cool and it's really important.
bro, I think you are missing one part. A story. This book also talk about the emotion, because I remember when I was reading the book, you and your friend are in all mat, and when the situation was like you are about to cut, at that time my heart was like, bro, now what is going to happen?
Hmm.
And at the same time, you brought another guy, and you were making the story long, but I was just willing to know what happened, what
Hmm.
happened. So it's also about emotion. You
Yeah.
attach with the emotion. Wow, that's great. And you say that you wrote Miles and the World in 4 months. That
Hmm.
was that was
Yeah.
bro. That's I think that is like wow. So how do you come up with the idea, and what spark your? Okay, let's talk about like how did you come with the idea of Miles and the World?
Yeah, so it just kind of happened. I think, again, I think of a lot of stories all the time, and I think it was needed to have a story that represented today's world. I think we have a lot of cool action movies and we have a lot of cool superhero. I love them. Don't get me wrong. I think they're cool. I watch them still, but I think sometimes we're just missing a good movie. And I think the early 2000s, 90s, and 80s did those really well. And I look at a movie like Stand By Me, like I said earlier, which was part of a novella series of Stephen King. And then I also look at The Goonies, right? Another good story. I think kids these days, and I hate to say this, but I think, I'm saying this as at 20 years old. I think at this point, um, I think there's a lack of stories about friends and what it means to go out with each other and go on these little adventures that I think are real. I don't think it's fake. I think, at least for me, when I was growing up and I was in middle school, these are things that real occurrences that have happened, and I think it's really cool because every kid has someone to relate to in that story, right?
Yeah, I
That
agree.
was the goal. And every single kid has a different personality, and every single kid has a different representation. And that was all obviously on purpose because I think those types of stories are needed. And they also have to be done the right way. Nothing in there was forced. Everything there flowed in a way where it was like, this is a real friend group because they were based on real people and real experiences. And that's the great thing that we get when we go out in life and we have these opportunities to gain these experiences. So I think the influence again came heavily from wanting to tell this story that could possibly be really good on the big screen, hopefully, that related to previous movies that done very well. Stand By Me, I believe, won an Oscar, and The Goonies obviously is cemented in movie like history. So I think it was heavily inspired by things like that, and I just wanted to be able to tell a story. Might have been a long answer, but I
Yeah,
think I
no,
got there.
that's amazing. I think you explain in very clear way. That was perfect. I think that is one of the best way of briefly explaining the things. Um, you say that I have a lot of idea in my
Hmm.
mind. What has spark your creativity? Like, what is how do you come up with the idea? What is your that spark in creativity?
I think always asking questions, right? I think that's a big part of just like learning and taking things in. I think that it happens a lot with talking with friends too. Like, again, talking with my older brother, talking with my dad, talking to some really close friends that I have that are into movies and TV shows and books. And I think you can gravitate towards what. So if I have an idea, I'll usually go to different people. I'll talk to the people I trust, and I'll see kind of how that idea gravitates towards people and how that story kind of works there. I don't know. I don't think I could point to where it clicks in my brain because, to be honest with you, if I'm going to be honest with you, is it could be 2 a.m. and I'm laying in bed and I can't sleep, and then an idea just pops in my head.
Oh, wow.
I think Okay, I think a good answer would be it comes from experiences and it comes from where your mind just kind of roams. I think that's like the number one thing. Again, experiences and like, oh, what if life went this way? Right? Everyone has a crossroads in life. Everyone has decisions they have to make. And I think sometimes I'm like, what if we went this way? And sometimes the stories aren't good and they don't gravitate towards people, and then I don't throw them out, but I'll keep them there. And sometimes they do really good, and this was one that people really enjoyed when I talked to them about it, and then I was like, okay.
Wow, I think this is one of the best thing that you talk about, like how you are giving even in the creativity as a human touch, but I was willing to point out something else, and that let me say, like when I say the creativity, do you know what came to my mind? Because nowadays we are at the time of AI and ChatGPT. So whatever come to my mind now, almost 80% it came that let's ask with the ChatGPT, let's
Hmm.
ask with the AI. So uh, so what do you think? What is okay? Let me ask like this. Uh, do you use AI tools, ChatGPT, to come up with the idea, or is there any influence of AI in your life? Let's talk about you and your creativity.
I think that AI, it's tricky, but at the end of the day, I mean, AI can't make stories like this, right? AI can't. I mean, it can try, but at least my personal um, belief is that these experiences that we experience as humans, I mean, I would hope that maybe AI can't get that too complicated, but I think that we have just too much emotion, right? I think that us as humans, I think we have too much life and loss and love that I think it's just I don't think it can take that. So obviously your stories should come from your personal passion. I think your stories should come from experience. I think that your stories should never be used with AI because again, stories are meant to be heard from you. Stories are meant to be heard from your experiences. And again, it doesn't have to be directly. Again, that book has influences from experiences. It could be a total fantasy book and characters and things that happen are influenced by events in your life. So I think that stories, characters, your actual writing should never be influenced by AI. I think where AI can possibly, be okay is, how it's used as kind of like just kind of like a database to like, kind of like as like Google or like a dictionary. And, I had to edit that all of myself. So, and there were still typos. I'm reading it back right now and I'm like, ah, damn, like, there was a typo. Uh, I use Grammarly, so like through that process because I didn't have an editor and
Yeah.
no one's gonna read this like 19-year-old's book. So I was just like, okay, um, I'll use Grammarly to go through, and that's perfectly fine. Again, I think that's at least for me personally, that's how I feel about it. It didn't change it didn't change my sentences. It was just basic grammatic structure, and there's still typos, so I guess it didn't do that great of a job.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, let me touch here. You say that you did editing and everything. So I just wanted to say the journey that we start in the beginning. Like in the beginning, you are writing, you are editing, and you need to do everything. Same as like when I'm
Hmm.
making the video, I'm the one who record the video, who edit and do everything. Okay. So yeah, in the beginning it is really hard, but
Hmm.
when you will be like successful writer, or when you will be on that kind of
Hmm.
milestone, you just need to write. There will be people to
Exactly.
edit, and these are the
Eventually, I'll
things.
have my own editors, and they'll come in and they'll do their thing. So
Yeah,
right now, it's just me.
yeah. So I think for me, like even the for the script or some post, I use the AI. So I take the advantage of AI to make my work easier.
Hmm.
Like basically, it's not about this, but like when I'm doing the post, I write my own, but I say AI to make it like more
Hmm.
clear or something like that. So how do you use? Do you use or not? Because that is the totally different. And if you use, how do you use? And why I am asking this question, because there is a, I don't know, bridge or air or everything about AI. Nowadays, people are talking AI in everything, like
Hmm.
each
No,
and
you're not
everything.
wrong. You're
So
not wrong.
how has AI impacting you?
Yeah, I would say that it's again, you don't want it to interfere with the experience and the story that you're trying to tell. Again, it should never be used for characters or the story or your writing. But again, the way I use it, I guess you could say uh, Grammarly is an AI tool, kind of, and I think that again you can kind of use it maybe for ideas. Like if you already have a set idea and you're possibly just trying to get some things jotted down in your brain to get things flowing, I don't see necessarily too bad of a problem with that. Again, at the end of the day, you're going to write a story, right? And if that writing is yours and those characters are yours and that story is yours, then that's yours and and that's well deserved. So if you can keep that, if you can keep your characters, if you can keep your writing, if you can keep, the story that you have in mind, then that's going to be your story. Anything that AI is used, at least from that, maybe I'm missing something, I think is I think is appropriate.
That's nice. That's nice. I like that you portrayed these things. Uh, and we talk about like I think even though in the writing in the when we were talking about the big book, you talk about some of your authors. So I again want to go back there. Who is your favorite author? Like who is the person whom do you see as a role model or something that who inspire you?
Yeah, so I think again, like I mentioned earlier a little bit, I like Stephen King. He did The Body, which was then adapted to Stand By Me. And again, when you think of good writers, like when people ask like who are like the great writers, right? You ask like who are the great quarterbacks? People say like like Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Patrick, whatever it is in life, right? There's always like the best, right? So
Yeah.
and people always know who to say. And when you say great writers, you're going to oftentimes get Stephen King, whether people love his writing or not. He's well respected and he's well acknowledged, and I think that is an aspiration of mine. I kind of touched upon it a little bit earlier, and it's just you know I want to be as humble as I can, and I want to, but that is a goal of mine, and that goal is something that he has, and that's something that I love about that. I always look into his stories. Again, he did Stand By Me. He's done a lot of horror as well, but I
Yeah.
think he's versatile. He has movies, and a lot of his books uh, did get adapted to movies. So I think what he's kind of done, his portfolio of books and movies and his name is such a heavy influence of mine, because I would love for people to be able to be like, okay, great writers, okay, that's Cayden Perry, right? I mean, not, again, I say
No.
that we all have dreams, and
Yeah,
that's the
yeah,
one
yeah.
I'm
That's
on.
okay. You can dream as big as you want. This is in our control. We
Yes,
can dream anything.
exactly, of
Perfect.
course.
And you said that he has written a lot of horror
Hmm.
novel books. I don't know more about the literature, but when I was searching, it came that Stephen King is the king of horror.
Yeah, that's what they
Wikipedia
title
said
him.
that
Yeah.
king of horror. Wow. So now I'm curious. You say that like you admire him. I'm curious, like why you want to be writer. Like basically, okay, let me say like this. Even though you toss this thing, but I want to be like very specific. Uh, what is your emotion to be writer? Like you want to be writer in order to be very famous, make a lot of money,
Hmm.
or what is your like emotional things related? Like why you want to be a writer?
Yeah, so I think like what you said is not an order of what you want. I think it's a process of what you want, right? So you brought up fame, you brought up passion, right? Money, whatever it is. I think it's an order, right? I think that you have to have a passion for something, right? And that's writing to me. I have that passion. I want to tell a story. And then you got to find your purpose in there, right? So I love storytelling. I love to talk. I love to write. So I think from that point, you find your purpose. And my purpose is to convey my stories, teach a lesson, have people gravitate towards these stories, give back to what I can. And that's my purpose. Hopefully, through your passion and hopefully through your purpose, you create good stories that hopefully bring you fame. And then after you get fame, that usually leads to money. And then I think the biggest one is after you get money, after you get fame, again, we're talking just in a scenario of why in the goals I'm after, is then you go back and you help the people that helped you. And you go back into your communities, you go back into your family, you go back into your friends, and you can give back. Because I think, it's something that we all strive for, and that's to be really successful, of course, right? I think that you're going to sell yourself short if you don't aim for the stars, right? um, but that I think that it's important to then go give back, right? So I think I see writing as an opportunity, right? Because I've called it like my gift, right, multiple times on here, and again I'd say that I say that humbly, but I try to. I'm just trying. I don't want to like. I always hate like boasting and stuff. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like
Okay, I see.
it feels like I don't want to seem like super like self-conceited. But when you have this purpose and you see it, and then you can see a way where you can give back to the people who love you and care about you, I think it's an amazing opportunity that if anyone sees an opportunity that they can execute at, why not do it? Maybe not for yourself directly. Of course, it's going to be, it'd be great to again have my name being mentioned and making movies and telling these stories, and that's the passion. But the purpose is to go after it and give back to, my mom, my dad, we talk about siblings, right?
Yeah.
So there's so many people I think that you can direct your attention towards and see it as a process and not as an order why you do it, but as a process on why you do it.
Yeah, this is great thing, James. This is one of the great things that I see in American society
Mm.
basically here, because this thing is not widely practiced back to my home, because here everyone is talking about giving back to the society, giving back to the
Mm.
family, giving back to the place he come from, and I like the way you say that. I want to give back to my society, the people who has done anything for me. And to be honest, let me say one thing. I think at this moment, the society, the world need a storyteller, the good storyteller, because there are a lot of a story, but we do not have a lot of a storyteller. So I think I see you like you are going to make thousand of the story that is hidden or that is not there. You are going to present that story and make people inspired. So I wish you all the very best
I
for
hope.
that.
Thank you.
And
I
hopefully
know.
there and hopefully there will be one of my story as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully you will write my story as
Yeah.
well. Okay. Thank you. So we are talking about the story and writing. So I wanted to know, like, what is your writing habit? Okay, let me be a little more specific, because a lot of people thinks that this is my time, this is my place, this is the zone where I go, I can come up with my
Mhm.
creativity. Some people say that at night, some people say that when I sit, because one of my friend,
Mhm.
she said that when I sit in front of the river and I am alone at that time, my writing souls came and start talking to me. So
Mhm.
what is your like mood, time, or whatever you say?
Yeah. So I can write like throughout the day. Like I can definitely write at different times in different environments. It'll take a little bit more focus. But the ideal writing scenario, which is a little unfortunate, is late at night. Like we're talking like after 12 o'clock, after midnight, and it's kind of unfortunate just because like it's not ideal to be up till 3 a.m. But I think that it's just being so peaceful at night, and there's nothing to really distract my mind, and I feel truly one on one with the page in front of me. And I think sometimes that I can't really be one on one in that, at least that mindset of it, when there's so much going on. So it has to be somewhere usually peaceful, somewhere usually where I can focus. And that usually ends up being late at night. And specifically here, it ends up being the library at like 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. So it's unfortunate because uh, my sleep kind of suffers from it. But I will say some of my best writing that I've done, I think, happens pretty late.
Okay, so you say even though like we started that you had a practice, you said 6 a.m. or 5 a.m.
I had practice I had to wake up at 5. The practice was for
5.
6,
So
yeah.
okay, you wake up at 5 and
Hmm.
you ride around 12, 1, 2, 3. How is this,
Well,
bro?
well, I'm fortunate that we don't always have practice that early. Um, but sometimes my sleep does suffer from it. But I
Uh-huh.
mean, you know, I when my brain is flowing for writing, I feel like I can wake up, I can go get like a coffee or something, I can get some caffeine in, and I can kind of like truck through my day a little bit. So, but again, fortunately, we don't always have super morning practice, so I have to like manage my schedule
Mm-mm-mm.
around when I can write and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's nice. Actually, I wanted to point out, like, in order to get something, you are losing something. You are losing in the sense like you cannot have everything together, or even
Hmm.
if you are having, you need to contribute something. Like you are making your sleep less to come up with your creativity. So this
Hmm.
is how you cannot have everything perfectly in the life. Um, that's nice. Okay, so I wanted to say, like, we talk about the writing, and what is the writing help you in your life? Okay, let's talk about me. I'm not a very good writer because I do not write a lot, but when I am like basically okay, when my writing world come, or
Hmm.
when I come up with my writing creativity, when I'm going through something tough, or tough in the sense something unusual, I will say like that, and that things is bothering me. So, I feel there is a two way. One, you can go and tell to someone so that you feel lighter, but it's very hard to find
Mhm.
those secret people where you are like 100% sure that in any situation it's not going to reveal. So most of the time I write my all the emotions and these all things in paper, and when I write there I feel the lightness in my heart.
Mhm.
So this is what writing mean to me, to writing me into a third person where I can pour my everything and make my heart lighter. How this is how writing helped me in my personal life. How writing has helped you in your personal life?
Yeah, I think you really hit on it for I think, yourself and a lot of people and even including me, is that it offers a way to express yourself, right? When something happens, whether it's loss, gain, whatever life throws at you, I think, we can bottle up in a lot of emotions and we can experience a lot of different things. And I think that it's important to then drift towards things that we enjoy and things that we can get those things out. And some people have different hobbies. And for me, writing is one of my hobbies. And that's something that I can express myself. It's something that I can self reflect. It's something that I can kind of go into and really um, look back on a circumstance or a situation at hand. And I think that's just really important. And I think what you said really, I think nails what, a lot of people go through, different emotions and loss and expression where we live these lives and it's not going to be, it's not going to be perfect all the time. And so it's important to have things to go into, to let out your thoughts. And I think writing has definitely helped me with that.
That's nice. Okay, so now I am curious because you write the book and it's the
Hmm.
perfect book, I will say. So like, do you also write the diary or anything like that? Because I think I am trying to write my diary every day, but whenever is the anything happen, okay, like yesterday I participated in a startup pitch competition. It was in Western New England. People from all over the Western Massachusetts, they came up with their startup idea, and they presented, and there were judge and everything was like very formal, and they just select top three uh, group whose idea, whose vision, whose team is like for very notch making that they can really impact and make the startup into the business. And luckily I got the first position, my team got the first position, so congratulations to myself.
Great. Yep.
Thank you. No, but I wanted to say like if the event like this happen, on very dedicated I write my diary. If
Hmm.
something unusual happen in my life, I write my diary. Do you write diary or not? Like
I
how
do.
these things happen to the writer world?
I do not, and I know a lot of writers do.
Mm-mm.
So just because I don't, again, I'm still very new to the world of that I'm trying to really dive into, and I think that it's nothing really personal about it. I just don't think I've gotten around to it.
Mm-mm.
I've always thought of it though because I think it'd be a really cool thing to just imagine when you're older and you just have like these journals of like your life, and I think that's like a really cool, right? Wouldn't that be cool to have, and like your kids can read it and like
Yeah,
it's passed
bro.
down. It's like they can really see like the life you lived. And I almost started it when I was 15. I had the idea to just do like a series of writing and journals, and just so like when I die, then people would have these, just pull them out and they're like, oh my god, this is when he was 15 years old all the way. And so people can also see like how I felt about them, and people can reflect on like we hide so much as people. We hide so much with each other. We don't necessarily we we don't necessarily like get everything out, you know what I mean?
No, no, I can see
Yeah, yeah.
that. I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
see that thing on your smile. To be honest, when you say I don't want anyone to read my diary
Yes,
because
yes,
like I'm
exactly.
like I don't know even the like I think I'm expressive, but I'm more expressive in my diary. I don't want
Mhm.
anyone to see my diary. Why you are smiling? What are the things
No,
in
no,
your
just because
diary?
I'm just it's just processing in my head. Like again, like we hide so much from people, and I think that it's important to have an outlet to express those things, right? So I think that having a diary would be cool because again, we don't all the time tell people how we feel about them. We don't
Yeah.
all the time connect with people on how we're trying to connect with people. And I think that it's important, again, go back to the idea that would just be cool if someone could open that and see the way like you truly felt about them, because we'll never usually be able to say it in words, unfortunately. So, but we can always write it.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. Okay, so I write my diary, and Cayden say that yeah, someone will go and look. I think even though if you can just go and see what you wrote a month ago, a year ago, you will be amazed. What? How? Like because everything, a lot of things happen in our life, and we just forget
Mhm.
what happened. And there are so many good moments when I read my diary. I say, bro, is this the real Miraj Hussain? No,
Mhm.
like there's like so much mystery, and I don't know. You will be like amazed with everything, like your what you wrote, how was your thought process, and you can see. I think that is one of the great way of having reflection on yourself, like how I was saying whether I was right wrong in place of like I can have seen this thing in this way, and when I read my previous, I see that how mature and I am right now, what I used to be the last
Yeah.
week. Yeah, that's interesting. And Kader, I want to talk like last time when we were talking,
Mhm.
we talked a lot about the self reflection.
Mhm.
So I was just thinking because my self reflection is, I think I will say that the writing the diary, and in addition, like before going to the bed, I just try to go like what did I do from the morning to till now, like till sleeping. So this is what my self reflection is. This is how I reflect. What is self reflection mean to you, and how do you practice self reflection?
Yeah, you know, I think self-reflection is probably, not trying to like get like super deep here, but like I think it is probably one, if not the most important thing you can do as a person in your life, because self-reflection means that you can grow as a person. And to be able to grow as a person is it's incredible, like who you can become. And I think my biggest thing is that that you know if you're this person who has failed at something multiple times, if you're this person who doesn't live up to a standard or something like that, and we all have our own standards for ourselves, and we're going to fall short to a lot of them. But if you can reflect and become a better person, I think that is it's awesome. And again, I think self-reflection to me, it's something that we have to do for people that we also care about, right? Because I think it develops the most when you care about somebody, right? I think we talked about that a little bit, and it was that you can have people that you care about that you disappoint, and that's when the best self-reflection happens, because you care about this person, you have this love for somebody, you have this, this feeling for somebody, and if you disappoint them, if you let them down in some way, the only proper way to respond, at least from, my perspective, is through self-reflection, is through understanding um, the circumstance and how you can be better, right? You have to be better at your failures, and I say this as a 20-year-old who's still has a lot of self-reflections, and I bet a lot of things to learn, but I think that willingness to learn is the first step of self-reflection. And again, it happens the most when we care about somebody.
Yeah, this is great things that you point out, and I think this is one of the most important things throughout the podcast that I'm very passionate to talk and very eager to talk. So let's jump over there. You
Hmm.
say that a lot of time self-reflection help us to. Okay, let me say like self-reflection help us to go and see. I don't know how to say like what we are like. Okay, let me go here. You say that most of the time we wait. Why did you say like? I don't know. Now I'm like getting
Yeah.
emotional. When I get emotional, my English gone. I'm out of my English. Like a lot of time we do not.
Meet a standard and we disappoint.
We
Yes,
disappoint. Okay,
disappoint.
okay,
Yes.
perfect. We disappoint our. We do not give the what is that called credibility or the things that dissolve the people who are very close to us.
Hmm.
Okay, let me say like this one. Like thank you very much. Let me say
Yeah.
why. Because last time I was talking with Karen, and we were talking about these things like how we do not give importance to the what is the exact word? I don't know. It's not the importance. Like we do not give the deserving credit to the people who are
Hmm.
very close to us, and we take for the grant. Okay,
Yes.
how we
Yes.
take our
Take for
close,
granted.
yeah, how we take our very close people to the grant. Like this week, this couple of weeks, I was working on my startup idea. I was talking with my friend, but I know my mom is like she is my mom, whatever I will do. So I was not talking, even though it's just a 2 minute 3 minute, and if I just talk that much, even on a week,
Hmm.
I don't talk, I didn't talk her for 2 week, and I didn't talk. And where after talking with the Kaden, I realized, oh, this was just the excuse, because we make the excuse where we take the people for the grant.
Mhm.
And I was like, no, this is my mom, whatever, even though I'm not going to text nothing, she will be my mom. And I was like, she was worried, but I was not calling, I was not messaging to her. So when we talk about this thing, then I thought, oh my god, I'm just making the excuse, I have 30 seconds, I have 2 minutes. So I am very past. Let's talk more about like what you think. The people who are very close to us, we take them grant and we do not give that time, respect, or whatever they deserve. What is your light on this topic?
Yeah, I think it's a big failure that a lot of people, you know, partake in. And it's something that obviously we don't mean it to be intentional because we care about them, right? If we didn't care about them, if we didn't have these feelings towards them, then we wouldn't be taking them for granted because we just truly just don't have that connection with them. But I think what happens is you get so focused, at least for me personally, and I think a little bit from I would say about you too, from talking with you, is we get so focused on who we want to be. We get so focused on these goals and where we want to be in this place, in this success. And a lot of times I think we're doing it for the people we care about, right? I think that's something that's true. But I think at the same time, we sometimes just have to stop and be in the now, right? It's something that's said a lot. Be in the now, right? You can obviously focus on your goals, but I think it's just an excuse. And I go back to to some friendships that I've had that lasted years, and they were great friendships, and I would be so focused on who I'm trying to be, so focused on these goals, so fixated on this ideal ending, that I was never focused on the friendships that I had in that moment. And I think at those times that you fail, it's hard, and that's when the self-reflection comes in, because it's like, you brought up like your mom, and you weren't able to, you weren't able to call her, text her, whatever, you weren't able to communicate with her and let her know these things. And I think that's when the self-reflection that we just talked about prior comes in, where you're like, okay, I need to take a step back because there's people I care about, right? And even though that you're striving to do these things and to be great, I'm sure, for those people that we care about, right? Sometimes they don't fully see it because they don't see the investment that you're in right now. And even if they do, it doesn't hurt just to, call them up and say, I love you, I care about you, how are
Yeah.
you doing? It's a 5-minute conversation. And I think sometimes that we have an ego to it. I think sometimes we fall victim to laziness, of course. And I think that, again, I bring up, previous, friendships that I've had in the past, where it's just, I'm so focused on these goals, Miles in the world being one of them. I'm writing a book, or I'm so focused in football, that you never get to tell someone, like, hey, like, hey, like, I love you. Hey, I care about you. And I think that those failures, they're going to add up, and you don't want regret, right? You don't want regret. You want to be able to tell someone that, like, hey, I love you. And I think it's so easy to do, especially if you do care about the person. It shouldn't hurt. It shouldn't be harmful. You should understand what you have now, because at some point we won't have it. And at some point, the success that we're trying to, go for, and I'm not even talking about, this heroic finale of being famous. I'm talking about, there's people who are dedicated to working hard. They have these hard sciences classes and stuff like that, and they're focused on this final exam or something. And that's great. We all have something that we strive for. But I mean, it's like we said, it takes 5 minutes. And I think at least it's been a failure of mine big time, because I've set a lot of goals that I want to have here so far. And I think, again, you get distracted in your goals, and then you fail to tell the people how you truly feel about them.
Yeah, Karen, I totally agree with you, and I think I have a very great impact. You have a great impact on me after that conversation. I think we are in a race that is never ending,
Hmm.
and in the race, and we always forget that who help us to come in the race
Hmm.
when we are injured or anything. So who help us to get out of that? Whenever we are getting ready, we are forgetting everyone who help us to come here, who help us to get out through the trouble. And when we are ready, we forget, we are kicking back to all the people, and we are again running. I think in the race there is also one scenario that you can take everyone together and run. Sometimes you
Exactly.
can be fairly fast running, sometimes you will be like normal running, sometimes even you can walk. And I think at that time we can bring everyone together. But the thing is that right nowadays we are in competing world. Even though our friend whoever is here, we are just trying to beat
Hmm.
and run away the faster. We are leaving everything behind.
And I think what we've also failed to realize is that sometimes they can make you run faster. Sometimes that they can make you move along and cover distance that, again, it's powerful to have people in your corner. It's powerful to have people who want to support you. And if you just give a little bit support back to those people that you care about, then you can run fast. And I'm telling you, you can get ahead because if you have people willing to support you on your journey, to support you on your dream, then take the support and keep those people in your life. And if you fail to keep those people in your life, then you have to self-reflect. Maybe you are too obsessed in the goals that you're trying to chase, right? And I think, and I say this as someone who I always say, like, yo, you have to be so obsessed in your goals. You have to be so prevalent in now and now and win, win, win. But I also think that you can move, again, you can move faster sometimes with people in your corner who are willing to support you. And if you have those people, keep them in your life.
Yeah, Kaden, I totally agree with you. I do not remember exactly where did I read, but the writer, I think it was one of the perfect way of saying. He said that if you want to have if you, I don't know how to say, like if you are looking for a small distance, you can run. But if you are looking for the very long destiny,
Hmm.
you need to be with the people together so that you can reach to that destiny.
Hmm.
And I think you need, if you are going through the, if even though none of, if you are looking for someone on very top of your career, you need the support of the people. At this time you are running, but you need support.
Hmm.
So I think this is this is the competing, this is also how the world is making us. But for our generation, I think it's very important to understand that we can go together, we can learn together, we can grow together, we can be succeed together. Not success doesn't mean just making someone back and being always on
Hmm.
top. It's you can be on top together.
Exactly, and I think we fail to realize that sometimes. And I think that there is a way to drive yourself to only focus on the win, the win, the win, and I think you can 100% get there. I think that's obviously a lot of people do. But then you get there and you sit around and you realize you were doing it partly for yourself, but I truly think that we all do it for the people that we care about. And once you lose the people in your corner, what's driving you for the success? What's driving you to succeed anymore? And when you do get there, you're going to sit back and realize, hey, I've made it to the finale, whether it's that job that you always wanted or it is the fame and it is, whatever it may be. You're going to sit there and you're going to realize, I just lost someone who was really important in my life. I just lost someone who really cared about me. And that's why I think it's important, right? I mean, we all deal with it. We all deal with loss and we all deal with, again, this never ending battle for success. But once you get there, what is it going to mean, right? So that's just kind of how I view it. And that's what's important to me. I don't want to lose the people that I have in my corner, at least the people now that I've acknowledged that I'm like, hey, these are the people in my corner. I can't lose them. I need to make sure that this is who I do it for, right?
Yeah, no, thanks, Karen. After your conversation, I also start thinking, like I was reflecting. I said, bro, I think I am doing something wrong. I need to make the people with me together. And I think there is also, I didn't remember where did I read, but there is also one of the very great quotation, and which we all, like most of the people are very confused. Success is not a destiny. Success is a path, not a destiny. Everyone thinks success is a destiny. I think that is 200% wrong. Success is a path, not a destiny. You need to enjoy the journey, because what is success? When I was in the high school, I need to get the first position. I got the first position. Am I successful? Then I thought, no, I need to go capital city for my higher. So I went there. I came in United States. Still, I'm looking for. I want to be the millionaire billionaire. Tomorrow, if I'm millionaire billionaire, I need to be trillionaire. I will be the. I need to be the very one which is top on top of the world. There is. This is like the journey. The goal is not something. There is not a specific goal. If you are reaching there, if you have a, there is a very good saying. A lot of people say in the Islam, like if you have a one forest, if you have a forest of diamond, if like you have as much diamond as a forest, tomorrow you will wish I would have two forest, a diamond of forest. Like wait, you get, like if you have this much property today, you wish I will have three times more than
Yes,
tomorrow.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
this is the agreed that will never end. So what we are doing now?
Yeah, no, I think what you said is right. Like again, I think people always want more. I think just that's just natural in life. And again, like we just said, the only way to get out of that mindset is to understand what you have and value what you have. And I think a big thing is actually perspective. So I think self-reflection is great in life, and perspective is another great thing in life. And I say this as a 20-year-old. I don't know what I know. I mean, like, but perspective, and this is something that I always try to keep me humble and try to keep me in the present, in the now, and to enjoy it as much as possible. Is I'm gonna use football for example for a second. When I'm out on the field and we're running sprints, we all hate it. We don't want to do it. You know, whether it's sprinting, whether it's practice. There's some parts of practice or training that is going to be grueling because it is physical. It is physically demoralizing sometimes, and even mentally, because there's so much time and energy that goes into that. I think something that keeps me humble is understanding the perspective of your circumstance. I have an opportunity to go out on practice every single day because that I physically can. But and this is we're going to get a little deep here, but there is a kid somewhere out there who has some sort of medical condition. There is someone out there who is praying to have the opportunity that we have every single day. Yet we are here trying to find a way to complain. And I'm still victim to it. I'll go out on practice and I'll say something like, today's not, it's cold out today, whatever. But there's a kid out there. There's someone out there who truly wants the opportunity, just the opportunity to go out there, whatever their condition may be. They were told that they can never play sports again. They were told they can never do something right. And you can relate this to so many different, aspects of work and life. And we're out here and we're doing okay, right? Some people weren't even given this opportunity of life, but we are. And that's my biggest thing that I try to keep myself humble, is all perspective, because I might think, oh my God, right, I didn't grow up in the most fortunate, life growing up. But before I complain about it, and before I complain and I try to make excuses, and I look around, I'm like, there was, I didn't grow up fortunate, but there was a lot of people who grew up less fortunate than me. And I have to be thankful for the now, and what I have. And I think using that perspective keeps you in the moment. It keeps you humble. It keeps you in love with what you're doing, because now when I go out to practice, I'm like, wow, that's humbling. I'm going to go 10 times harder now, because I know someone is wishing for me to go 10 times harder because they wish they were here. So they're like, hey, if you're going to be out there for me. And I think we can always look around and find people to do it for, to play for, to write for, whatever we're doing in life. Perspective is a huge thing to keep you humble, and it's a huge thing to be in the now and help with, I think, some of the circumstances that we were just discussing.
Cayden, this is great, bro. I think you brought a very great perspective. I will toss two things. Oh wait, I forgot one. First, you said that. Wait, I wrote the two things, but I forgot because this was like so depth. So you talk about perspective, and oh no, your book. You talk about the perspective, and oh my God, this was so great. Like, the one you were explaining something, it was like similar in your book. Like you are very honest about the things in your book, and the one you explained. But okay, let's me come to the perspective. I think this is one of the best way of seeing the world, and you can be happy and you can be more productive, because even though Islam, it say that you need to be grateful for what God has given to you. And I think you explain one of the best way that anyone can ever explain how you are grateful for every moment, because there are a lot of things to complain. Now we have two eyes. This is one of the great things that I have. The ask with the people who do not have an eye, who do not have hand, and you take this as an inspiration in your journey. When you are going to play the game, you say, "Oh my God, this is like my gift from the God. A lot of people are wishing, and I have, so I need to give like my 200%." Bro, I think this is one of the great way of taking. This is the people talk about the optimistic, but I think this is the most optimistic things that anyone can have. I think I always take this as a optimistic. I think that I'm grateful, but you boost up these things. You brought like there are 10 people who is wishing. There are thousands of people who wish they have fortunate to play the game. They have the eyes. Now I need to push myself for that, bro. You will be like succeed. I have no doubt that you will succeed in whatever you do because you are grateful for what you have. You have the fuel why you need to give your 200% in that task. Dude, this is so powerful.
Thank you.
Dude,
No, I
I like
appreciate
this,
it. No,
man.
I appreciate that.
Bro, you are so
I mean, I
there.
try again. I try, and I think all these things happen. Again, I'm only like 20. Again, I can. I love to take compliments and everything like that, and it's really cool. And again, it's just like stay humble. You know what I mean? Like I try to my best to put myself in those perspectives, and doing that again, it's just it
Wait,
allows you to stay so humble.
no, okay, okay. To be honest, like I think in this generation, our
And,
time, people are not thinking about this thing. How you come up with this mindset, this attitude? What make you like? I think this is very special. To be honest, because these kid are like this kid means I'm our
mhm,
generation. They are all over the internet. They are all over in the Facebook,
mhm.
TikTok. They do not have time to think about these things, the real things about the emotion, how the things work, how you can how you can relate with the nature. How do you came up with these things?
I, I think it's another hard one to pinpoint, but I'm gonna say experience in the life that I've lived, and I think a big one. I think you even probably know this a little bit too. Be having siblings, right? That helps out a lot. And living this life that we're in, we have so much opportunity for things to happen, and I'm fortunate to have experienced a lot of things in life that whether it be loss, love, relationships, friends, and you know there's so much I've experienced, and again, I'm only 20, so I feel like I don't want to sound like a no. Like again, I don't know what I'm talking about. Like I'm only 20, but I- you know, I feel like it's worked out for me this far, and again, I try. I have this aspiration to help others because I've seen people struggle. I've seen what it's like for people to struggle, and I would love to be able to uplift them. And I think that's just something that has naturally always happened to me, and I want to strive my best to be, the best husband, the best son, the best brother um, that I can be in whatever I do. Best coach, best writer that I personally can be, because we all have a potential, and can we max that out? And I think it goes back to self-reflection, being able to learn from your mistakes. That's my biggest one. I want to learn from all the mistakes I can, but it's hard to really pinpoint because it's just like life kind of happened, and I just I think I'm very aware and conscious of things happening. And again, I try to enjoy life so much because we only have so much time here, and we're only, and I love meeting people. I love talking to people. It's like, I enjoy it a lot. And I think just those experiences, that willingness to self-reflect, that willingness to talk to people, watching movies, understanding other people's stories, I think it all just kind of correlated and intertwined and connected to make this, I guess, this mindset that a lot of people credit to as well. Like when I talk to people, they really enjoy just
Yeah,
that
dude,
perspective.
dude. I think, I don't know. I was just thinking. I think now I want to just talk about this topic and just want to hear you for 5 hours. I don't
I
know.
appreciate
I
that.
just want to hear you. Yeah, let's talk about this thing because it's very hard to find at this time to people who talk about the real things like about these types of the dev thing. Everyone is talking about the trending things, Facebook, TikTok, and the outer. Everyone is so distracted, bro.
Mhm.
No one has time to think about, reflect about yourself, reflect about the life, reflect about these
And
things.
I think that even goes to what we were just talking about, right? We were just talking about this strive for success and being distracted about what we have now. I think it also goes to the opposite. I think it goes to the latter of that as well, with the strive, or not, I mean not the strive, but the scrolling, right, or whatever it may be, social media focus. I mean, again, I'm a victim to it as well, so I can't like say like,
To
oh,
everyone.
I don't do that. But I think what happens is we just get distracted. We get distracted, and I'm victim to it. You admitted you were victim to it. I think we all just get distracted, and my biggest thing is just to grow and learn from that. And there's people and again, I think it comes from the experiences. And there's people in your life that you're going to miss out on. You're going to miss out on really good people in your life if you just don't look around. And I think there's this quote from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I forget what it is. I really famous quote where it's like, if you don't look around once in a while, you're going to miss it, right? And it's just so true. You're going to miss so much opportunity. You're going to miss love. You're going to miss that connection that you have with family and friends. And I think it's very important that we try our best. That's I think that's all we can do. And so again, just kind of like what we're saying, it's just I think it's on the contrary as well. We get distracted, in our goals, but we also get distracted in our failures, and sometimes there's just a middle.
Dude, this is so powerful, bro. You are so depth in these
Appreciate
things.
it.
Okay, I will just say one thing, and then we will switch to the another topic. Um, I will go again back where we start this conversation, like this topic. I will just say from here, like a lot of time, the people whom we love, we care, we take them grant, and we just make a excuse that I'm busy here, there. So I will just based on my experience, and I'm going to say myself. Now I have 30 seconds. I have 5 minutes, and the people whom I love, whom I care, the people who care me, I am going to make 30 seconds and 5 minutes for them. From now, I do not have any excuse, bro. We just like I was not talking with my mom. I'm not talking with my siblings because I'm so busy making my making my startup, making my school and everything. But at the same time, I'm wasting more than that time, more than hours in social media, doing other things. So the people whom care, we are just taking them granted. So from now, I'm not going to take anyone as a granted. This is my takeaway.
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean, I hope that,
No, this is my
it's something I
takeaway.
got to learn too, yeah.
No, I am not going to. I have that much time because I reflected on myself. I'm so sorry to the people who are very close to me. I didn't give, but now I learned my lesson. I'm not going to do that one. Okay, this is so depth conversation. I really enjoy this. I think this is one of the best part of this session for me. Let's jump to the next session. Next session or next topic. Karen, you say I think in the very beginning you said you have football, and so how is okay? How does the athlete life look like, and how much time, energy, or how much time you are investing in football as a football athlete in Springfield College?
Yeah, so
Oh, sorry for cut up. Let me say because we have
mhm,
international audience. Football means American football.
yes,
It's not
yes.
the soccer football.
hmm
Okay, go ahead.
So, it varies depending on the time of the year, right? So when right now in the spring, uh, you know, maybe it'll be about 2 to 4 hours a day, for about 5 to 6 days a week. That consists of meetings, that consists of workouts, that consists of practice. And then if we're in the summer, it's a little bit more gradual. It's more yourself, what you want to put in the work in. I try to put in a decent amount of work as well, so we can stay around again between about 4 to 5 hours a day of working out, of trying to get better. Even your eating habits sometimes have to revolve around it. And then once we get in season, right, fall camp. So this is from mid-August to the end of August, right? This is about a 3-week period. It's just 12 hours a day. So your
Are you
whole
kidding me,
no,
bro?
and so again, we'll wake up at 6 a.m. We'll have breakfast at like 6:45. We'll go from breakfast to meetings, from meetings to practice, from practice to lunch, from lunch uh, to walkthroughs to more meetings. It's pretty like lengthy day. Your football mentality from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Oh wow,
every single day, 7 days a week, every single day throughout fall camp.
bro, are
It
you
is one of the
kidding me?
yeah. I
Is it like the dream that I'm having, or is this like the friction story are you telling to
No,
me?
no, it's for real. And sometimes even hard to grasp. I mean, sometimes it's hard to grasp when I was even in it. I mean, you have these moments where you don't even think about life outside of it. You're just like in it. I lost track of time. I lost track of the dates. I mean, you're so invested, and you're all. But you know what? It's a group of people for a common goal, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
everyone wants the same thing, and that's to win. And so that's really cool. But that's fall camp, and then you go into the fall semester, right? Because we're here a little earlier, and the fall semester it is pretty. It's a little bit more too as well. We're about yeah, because we have practice Sundays too. So we're 7 days a week, 6 days a week still. But Mondays, uh, we don't meet. So no, yeah. So it's 6 days a week during the fall semester, and it's about anywhere from 4 to 6 hours a day still
Dude,
during school. So
dude, it feel like I cannot believe.
hmm
Okay,
yeah,
so you said, okay, I will just take the average of 4 hour in a day.
hmm
Average of 4 hour in a day is like a lot.
it's
It's
about
not
the
a
average.
small.
Yeah.
So what do you do in the? You said you guys do basically meeting, workout, and practice. What do you do
hmm
in the meeting?
Yeah, so in the meeting, we're strategizing, we're going over film, we're trying to critique ourselves, we're trying to get better, right? Kind of mentally, right? We're preparing for schemes, and so that's kind of like where the mental aspect comes in. We also like, we call it like brotherhood development and stuff like that, and we try to build each other up. We try to like have, we try to build relationships with each other, which is really cool. We get a chance to build bonds with each other, and when you're closer to someone, you know what? Especially in a game of, especially in a game like American football, you're going to you're going to want to play a lot harder for them, right? You're going to want to have more of an opportunity. You're going to have more of a want to play for people who you care about, who you want to, you're not want to have their back more. And that goes for every sport, right? You're going to have your back more for people that you have a relationship with, and so we do that in meetings as well.
That's perfect. Well, and what do you do in the workout and practice?
Workout. We're a part of a structured program from our strength coaches. Fortunately, here we have really good strength coaches here at Springfield College, and we work out for about an hour, and it could even vary sometimes depending on the day and the workout and where the program is. But we'll go in, we'll lift, we'll sprint, we'll try to get faster, we'll record our lifts, our times, and they track us in our progress and how we can get better.
Wow, this is one of the great things that I just noticed, and this is for a lot of audience who are looking to be in the sport, and basically for the audience who are from the different country like Nepal, India, who are watching this. This is how Springfield College and in USA the games is organized. Like, whenever I think about the game, we think that just going and practice, but you say that you spend a lot of time strategizing
Hmm.
how you are going to tackle. You guys watch the techniques and these all the things. In addition, they spend a lot of time in relation building, making the brotherhood, understanding each other. I think this is one of the great aspect that the outsider do not see. We do not see that,
Hmm.
but we just see like you went practice game, that's, but there are a lot of things behind that in order to make that succeed. So these are the couple of things. If you are looking to be in these things, it's not about just playing, running and jumping. It's more about, it's not only about the physical, let me say, like, it's not only about the physical, but there are a lot of things, mental,
Hmm.
emotional, how you are supported through these all, so that you will be based in that field.
Hmm.
Wow, this is the
Yeah,
great
no,
things.
yeah, yeah. It's
Actually, to be honest, I was just thinking about the sport as a physical, but
hmm.
you just point out there are a lot of things emotional, and these all the things
Hmm.
connected together to make it like one. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. Again, when you have relationships with people, you're gonna fight harder for them, and I think football, especially, and still a lot of sports as well. I'm just giving this specific example because I play it, but is the schemes are so important, and people don't understand that. Like, they watch the games and it's like, but if you get behind the scenes and you see these meetings and you see what's going on, I mean, it is wild. I mean, there is a lot of schemes and strategies that go on for generations. We're talking like hundreds of years of schemes, not hundreds, but like 100 years of schemes that have developed over time and have progressed. And people still use schemes from like 60 years ago or 20 years ago, or news people coming up with new strategies and new offenses and defense. It's a big mental game as well.
Kaden, bro, I think I can talk and I can listen with you whole day, man. Dude, you are like,
You
uh,
too. I love
no,
having
no,
it.
you are like, I don't know, but I don't know a lot of English, but you are like do you know if someone is taking drugs, they become addicted and they need.
Hmm.
So you are like a kind of addiction, man. You have a lot of powerful way of saying the things, dude. That's great. Okay, I'm again coming back to our writing world,
Hmm.
not our writing world. I'm not very good. Let's go to the Kaden, your writing world. Uh, what is the new thing coming in your writing journey? What you are working on? Do you want to give some update to us?
Yeah, I mean, so I know we talked a little bit. There's a kid. So I'm working on a kid's book right now, that actually should be coming out in like 2 weeks. So
Wow.
that's really cool. That's really cool. And then I'm working on my next novel. It's going to be a series of novellas, short stories, about love, right? So I think that's going to be really cool as well to dive into.
Mm-mm.
I started it, and then the kids' book is almost done. So there's multiple things. I think this year specifically, after getting the first book, I wanted to really try to get ahead and put forward a bunch of different books and publish some things and get some stories out there. And then after that, maybe we'll stick to the one book a year. And I say, we'll try to stick to that. But this year I'm gonna try to do a lot, and those are some two
Okay,
projects
that's
coming up.
great.
Yeah.
What is the name of your kid books?
Yeah. So the kid book I'm currently working on, again, that should be out soon, is called Outside, Outside, Why Outside.
Outside, outside. Why outside? It seems
Hmm.
very. What is that called?
Catchy.
Yeah, catchy.
Yeah.
It grabbed my mind.
Hmm.
What is the title? What do you come up with this
Yeah.
title?
So I wanted a lesson that it was actually me and my friend came up with the idea, um, and and we wanted a lesson that was going to represent something of today's society. Kind of how I mentioned earlier, right? Everything kind of needs a lesson, an idea, especially in a kids book, right? You think of classic kids books, they always come back to something, and I think that in a world where kids are on their devices, right, all the time. I think that this book wanted to teach the value of putting down those devices and what it means to go outside and what it means to put down those devices in the world around it. Obviously, it's not going to be this crazy intricate novel. It's only going to be like 20-page kids book. But I think I think we were able to get the point across of the importance of each other and putting down those tablets. They have like they call them like tablet kids, iPad kids. So.
Yeah. Okay. So, I would love to know. I would love to hear again, like how this idea came and
Mhm.
use like because when we were talking, you said that the idea came to you. I went to library.
Mhm.
Say
Yeah,
that
yeah,
that
yeah,
part.
yeah.
That
So
part.
yeah,
Yeah.
so the idea came me. So I like to write, and my friend likes to draw. So I came up with kind of like this idea of like, hey, let's do a kids book. I was like, I just finished Miles in the World. This was literally like last week, by the way, and I was like, I finished Miles in the World, and I'm working on this next novel, but I don't know, I wanted to really put something forward, and I was like, I just want to keep this going. I was like, I don't want to stop this year, and we came up with the idea of the kids book. He was really down, which was exciting. And next thing you know, we come up with this idea, we come up with this lesson, and we're in the library, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna start jotting this down. And I was
What
like,
time did you go to
it
library?
was like 2 a.m. It was 2 a.m. Literally, I was in my dorm. I'm on the phone with my friend. I'm talking to him, and I'm like, I was about to end the call too. And next thing you know, I'm in the library 30 minutes later, and I'm writing this kid's book. And I was like, I have no idea how to write a kid's book. That's like that's for like middle schoolers. It's for kids, but we're talking specifically a kid's book where it rhymes and it has these. I was so confused, but next thing you know, it just started happening, and I started rhyming, and it started sounding good. And after I finished the writing that night in like in an hour, which was insane.
Yeah,
You
this
know,
is insane.
which again, I try to like, you know, it was pretty cool. I was like, whoa! I was like, this is pretty good. And then I ended up reading it to a couple of friends. Obviously, the friend that I was on the phone with, and the next day I brought it to a couple of people. They really enjoyed it, and I was like, okay, I think we're good with this. I think this is a good piece. I'm gonna edit it a little bit, make sure that I can get the grammar right this time. No typos, and yeah, and we ended up with this idea, and he's finishing up the art, and then we're gonna go through with publishing it hopefully in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, dude. Okay, let me summarize. Let me say this in couple of sentences. So the idea came when he was talking with his friend. The idea came to his mind around 2 a.m. He came to the library, and everything was done by in
Like
couple of
3, yeah,
by three.
right,
Wow.
3:30,
This
yeah.
are you sharing the some friction story, bro?
No, yeah. Again, so I mean,
Dude,
it was only. I mean, it's a kids' book, so it's not like it's this long book or like a novel, right? It's like 20 pages. Each page maybe has like 20 words on it. But I mean, the idea of the tell a story was pretty cool in like an hour, especially because it was something different, right? I never even thought of doing a kids' book, and it just kind of came to mind. So I will say I did enjoy that. A little pat in my. Not yet. Let's hope everything goes good, and when I
yeah,
finish.
perfect. Good luck, bro. I think this is one of the perfect notch to end our today podcast here. So thank you, Kaden. Thank you very much for joining us today. This conversation has full of insight from your journey as a writer to your thought on creativity, family, football, and self growth. Your story is powerful, and I'm sure our listener have taken away a lot from this episode, this special episode. Wish you all the best in your future books, football career, and everything else you pursue. And to our listener, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and stay tuned for more inspiring story on Let's Grow channel series. Until the next time, keep learning, keep growing.